just inside the city limits on the corner of Star and Lombardi. Front yards become parking lots. Parking lots become parties. You got short sleeves, long sleeves, no sleeves as generations gather because nothing quite matches a game day in Green Bay. And here at Lambeau Field before kickoff, Cardinals and Packers down to the field. Here's Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Packers take the field today looking to execute more than their X's and O's. Aaron Rodgers said they've been playing flat with no juice. Rodgers also said that last week's win against Jacksonville that they barely eked out was good for them because they are spoiled. He also said that this is a game that we probably should win. Arizona is a good team, but he also says how we win matters as well. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Pam. And for a team that had an ugly loss in Seattle and one taken away from them, they check in with a record of 5-3 and happy to get an ugly win last week against Jacksonville. 39 degrees, nice breeze through the stadium, and we are set to go. Larry Fitzgerald and the Arizona Cardinals offense will try and find some sort of a groove against a defense coordinated by Dom Capers, a defense that he feels is starting to get into gear and is starting to peak even with all the injuries. And you talked about it during the pregame hit with Kurt and the guys, that this is a Green Bay team like they did in 2010 that went through one injury after another. But despite all that, here they are at 5-3 and they've won 3 straight.
Yeah, and I think they feel pretty good about it. I mean, we heard Pam Oliver certainly talk about the conversation with Aaron Rodgers, but I know he also felt that last week's win, although obviously not very good from an offensive perspective, was a win they kind of needed, you know, to win a tough, ugly game. You know, they've certainly lost a few like that this year. But overall, Joe, I agree. I think they feel very good about where they're at right now.
These are two teams that are trying to offensively establish a running game. And for Arizona, get some of the heat off their quarterback, John Skelton, who has been under duress just about every time he's dropped back. We'll see John and the Arizona offense here at the start. Glad you're with us today on Fox. This is Powell from inside the 10. And William Powell is spun down just across the 15 by Ryan Taylor. A 9-yard return, and here is Skelton Troy, who won the job in camp and during the preseason got hurt in week 1. Now Cobb is hurt, so Skelton's back in charge.
Yeah, and even he admitted that it has been a frustrating year. Certainly the last 4 weeks have been frustrating for him, in particular the last 2 weeks that he has started. Of course, that game last week, threw the ball 52 times, and that's just not going to get it done. He's got to have some help within the running game.
They've lost their top 2 running backs. One of them, Beanie Wells, they hope to get back in a few weeks. Changing it up at the line as Skelton drops back and completes. That's the tight end, Hausler. And a small gain on first down of just 2 yards. And we look at this offense that comes in ranked second to last in the NFL. And this is the group with Batiste at left tackle and the rookie at right tackle that's really struggled.
Well, they have, and then with Rich Ornberger making his second start at right guard, the only 2 guys that they went into training camp with anticipating that they would be their starters that are playing here today is center Lyle Senline and then left guard Darren College.
Second down and 8. Skelton floats it. Fitzgerald, one-handed catch, but out of bounds. He shows the great hands, but he was clearly out of bounds working on Tramon Williams. It's 3rd and 8.
He made this look rather routine, didn't he? I mean, clearly he's out of bounds, but you know, so much is talked about the job that Larry Fitzgerald has done over the time of his career as Skelton. He's getting a little too accustomed to being on his back at the end of each passing attempt.
That was Eric Walden, who makes another start for the injured rookie Nick Perry. It's 3rd and 8. Just 4 men on the rush, and down goes Skelton. Mike Neal gets the sack And the Cardinals now have given up 40. By far the most across the NFL.
Well, they can't blame the tackles on this one. Mike Neal, he's just able to get right by left guard Darren College, and that's the inside pressure. For the most part, Skelton has been protected inside because of their play. As you said, the edge rush has been what has been a problem for them. But that time you got Neal right in the face of Skelton. He had no chance.
College, who was the starting left guard the year the Packers won it all in 2010 for Green Bay. Line drive punt, Cobb. He's dangerous. Room to run. Inside the 40. Gets a block. And out of bounds at the 20. Zastudil barely got it away in that line drive punt. A 28-yard return on a 39-yard punt and a great block by Ryan Taylor on the return by Randall Cobb. Here it is.
Now you see the block by Ryan Taylor, and I couldn't tell exactly who was the recipient of that hit, Joe, but he is still on the turf. That was a big-time collision.
It's a backup safety, Rashad Johnson, former third-round pick from Alabama, and he got plastered right here.
I just never even saw it coming. He got laid out. And how about the special teams play for the Packers? Sean Slocum, the opening kickoff, they pin him inside the 20 on the 15-yard line to start that drive, and then a big return there by Cobb.
Mike McCarthy said that's been the best aspect of this team so far. Special teams, and now down goes Rodgers. There were 4 Arizona Cardinals there, and Calais Campbell was the first one, but he wasn't alone.
They tried to run a double move with Jordy Nelson coming back off of the hamstring injury, and good coverage on the outside. And he's trying to hold it and then go elsewhere with the ball, but great inside pressure of their own by the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, the Packers and the Cardinals come into this game defensively, leading the league with the most sacks.
Both Campbell and Dockett get credit for that sack at 2nd and 20. And a handoff to Starks, running right, nowhere to go. The knee is down, but he gets up and picks up 2.5, 3 yards, maybe 4 over the right side. That's it. So 3rd and long coming up, as Darrell Washington was there defending for Arizona. Here's the offensive line. And the backs and receivers. Nice for Green Bay to have Jordy Nelson back. He missed last week with a bad hamstring. 3rd down and 16. Rodgers, good protection, now gets out of there, throws, has a man, but dropped. Randall Cobb was open, tried to adjust and couldn't make the catch inside the 5. It's 4th down.
Well, that was almost a heck of a play by Randall Cobb. You know, the Cardinals, 3rd and long, they play coverage. They've got help with safeties over the top, and I think Aaron Rodgers saw color out in front of Cobb and just was afraid to lead him and tried to then pull him up, and it was almost a really nice catch.
Cobb, who's become such a big part of this offense in his 2nd year out of Kentucky. This one is missed by Mason Crosby, who has now missed 5 of his last 9. Hooked it, missed from 32 last week, misses from 44 this week, and the Packers waste great field position to start. Still no score.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Field goal kicker for the Packers. Mason Crosby has hit a rough stretch. Packers get nothing out of that good return by Cobb. They're now trying to run it. Good for 1 as Larod Stevens howling. A.J. Hawk is there defensively for Green Bay. And now we look at this Packers defense, which according to Dom Capers is trending up. That 3-4 look. And they have 17 of their overall 26 sacks coming from the linebacker position. They miss Charles Woodson out with a break in his collarbone. Second down and 9. Skelton out of the backfield. Stevens howling, and he's got a first down. First of the game, and he is good for 14 yards over the left side. House was out there for Green Bay.
Well, of course, when you're going to play the Cardinals, you've got to be aware then of Larry Fitzgerald and where he's going to line up. There was a time where you could determine that he was going to be on the outside. That started changing a few years back, working him in the slot a little bit more, makes it a little bit more difficult to double him, but he's going to have the attention of the Packers in this game.
Future Hall of Famer, you have to believe. Larry Fitzgerald is the Rod Stevens howling, who really is doing something that he wasn't expected to do, which is carry the load at running back. He's more of a change-up guy. Picks up 5.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, they come into the season with Beanie Wells. He goes down in the 3rd game of the season, and then last year's pickup, running back Ryan Williams, he gets hurt as well, and so now you're asking a guy in Rod Stevens howling to absorb the load, and that's just not what he's equipped to do. I've been impressed, though, Joe, even though the production hasn't been great for a lot of reasons. He gives it everything he's got.
Go. Second down and 5. Pass is dropped by Hausler. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
And what we see then, hey, the Cardinals are tired of hearing about it. Everybody probably at home that's a Cardinals fan is probably tired of hearing about it as far as the offensive line woes and how many times they've given up the hits on the quarterback. But for the Packers, they recognize the Cardinals are going to come into this game. They're going to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. They got the ball out on the one play to Stevens howling for a nice gain. I was a little surprised to see him outflank Green Bay defensively, knowing that that's what's coming.
Now 3rd down and 5. 4-man rush. Skelton flushed out to his left, and the pass is incomplete. Fitzgerald, they're saying one is saying catch. The other, the side judge, is coming up and saying out of bounds. And it certainly looked like he was, and that's the call. Let's see as that ball comes out going to the ground. See if he maintains control. He doesn't.
It was almost a good catch on Larry Fitzgerald's part. Good coverage. As I said, when you've got safety help over the top, you're then able to play a little bit tighter underneath, and yet they were still almost able to complete that pass.
As they try to hide Fitzgerald as best they can, he started that play in the backfield. Came out, almost made that juggling catch, but now a punt from Zastadil, who puts the nose down, and a fair catch just outside the 15 by Cobb. 30-yard punt, nothing on the return. Packers have it second time. No score at Lambeau.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Leftover pumpkins from Halloween. From the 16. You carve pumpkins this year, Troy, you and the girls?
Absolutely.
Okay. First down for the Packers. Hand off to Green. And Alex over the left side gets 3. And let's look at this good defense for Arizona, and that's exactly what it is, coordinated by a former teammate of yours, Ray Horton.
He's really done a nice job in his second season as defensive coordinator, and hey, it's on this unit. I mean, they have got to play well. Did a nice job in that first possession, not giving up any points, at least not giving up a touchdown, and then of course the missed field goal by Crosby.
No huddle look from Green Bay, and a first down. Completion to James Jones, and he's good for 8, and a fresh set for Aaron Rodgers.
And they go to their no huddle, and Mike McCarthy said during the week that maybe he had been a little bit too quick to get out of the no huddle. It's something that they run for the most part very well, and something that Aaron Rodgers is very comfortable doing.
319. On first down, Rodgers protected well, now he's going to run. Aaron Rodgers into Arizona territory. 25 yards for number 12, and that's his long of the season.
Yeah, you're going to see the outside pressure, and so Rodgers steps up, but because the protection is so good up front, man coverage in the secondary, everybody running with their backs to Aaron Rodgers, he's able to split the seam and get a nice gain.
327. 327. 319. 319. Extra men on the rush. That's a completion to Finley. And Jermichael is good for 6.
Jermichael Finley, who last week when Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson were out of the lineup, he was expecting to have a little bigger day than he did. He just had 2 receptions, and I think Mike McCarthy's still waiting for it too. You know, he was such a big part of this offense prior to his knee injury during that Super Bowl year. It just hasn't quite gotten back to that same level of production.
On 2nd and 4, it's Green. Nice run. Alex Green with a stiff arm and down the sidelines, out of bounds at the 20. 21-yard run by Alex Green.
Good blocking up front. Left guard TJ Lang, he's able to seal the inside, and just pretty tough running there by Alex Green. You know, watching that game last week in the win over Jacksonville, I thought he ran about as well as he could have considering what he had to work with. But Mike McCarthy, he didn't feel that way. He challenged this young man coming into today.
Rodgers with time. Now will slide down with a positive play of 3 yards. This has been a Green Bay team that, as far as their running game is concerned, they come in 26th. Overall, they had just 3 runs of 20 or more yards coming into this game, and they have 2 on this drive. 1 by Aaron Rodgers, and that last one by Alex Green. Now 2nd and 8. Rodgers drops it off, trying to screen, and that was there if Green could have come down with it. Rodgers got hit at the end of the play. It's 3rd and 8.
Yeah, Vonnie Holliday, he's able to come right over the center. He started one part of the offensive line, worked over to the center, and had just a free shot trying to run a screen. And usually when you get a rusher like that, you're able to get it away in time and get a completion, but that was so fast in his face that they just hadn't even had it set up yet.
So now 3rd down and 8. Good pocket for Rodgers. And now they'll try and pick it up, and he does. He can do it with his arm, he can do it with his legs, and that one good for 10 and a 1st down.
Well, it's great coverage down the field, as you can tell. I mean, he goes from one side of the field all the way to the next and just could not find anybody open. And once again, I mean, the offensive line in the middle is doing such a good job that he then is able to survey the field and still have time to pick up the 1st down with his legs.
1st down and goal. Rodgers, pump fake. Slides. Down he goes. Brought down at the line of scrimmage, and it was Acho who made the play.
No, they're just doing a good job in the secondary. I mean, there's just really nowhere to go with the ball. Trying to work Jermichael Finley in the middle. And had they been able to make the stop on 3rd down, that would have been a big win for this Arizona defense, because the Packers, for all their inconsistencies this year, they have been outstanding when they've gotten down here in the red zone. So if the Cardinals are able to hold the Packers to a field goal attempt, that's going to be huge.
That does not go down statistically as a sack for Acho. 2nd and goal. Rodgers gets rid of it quickly, and the pass is caught by Nelson. Looked like it might have skipped in there. And now Nelson gets up limping. Let's take a look. That ball bounced in. They called it a catch, but the bigger part of it is Jordy Nelson comes limping off the field.
It looked, Joe, like he might have gotten his ankles caught underneath him as he tried to come back and make a play on that ball. Now, as we talked about, he didn't play last week. He's got the hamstring injury. Potentially, he re-aggravated that. But it looked to me, by the way he had to come back and try to make a play on this ball, that maybe his ankle got underneath him and he may have twisted that.
A challenge by Arizona on a pass that looked like it bounced in. We'll get the call when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the all-new Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. And by Halo 4, An Ancient Evil Awakens. Rated M for mature.
We will get the call from Walt Coleman. They're looking at the right ankle of Jordy Nelson on the bench. He got it trapped under his body on that catch, and on top of it, it looks like the call will be reversed.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. The 3rd and goal at the 8.5-yard line. Please reset the clock to 5:36. Arizona will not be charged a timeout.
So this is a Green Bay team, Troy, that's going into a bye week. They hope to get healthy. They brought Jordy Nelson back, and now it's an ankle on top of the hamstring.
He looked like he was in quite a bit of pain. The fact that he's putting a sock back on over his ankle, I think is a good sign for Packer fans. How
about that sign?
Well, he looks like he'll be done. He looks like he'll be done for the rest of the day, but that's a real concern. They were getting him back here today, but a huge concern if he's not able to come back and play anytime soon.
It's 3rd down and goal. And they're going to get Paris Lennon.
Ball start, number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty.
And you can see Aaron Rodgers saying it was the guy across. But there's 88 at the bottom, and it wasn't the guy across from where Lennon came over early.
Still 3rd down.
Didn't catch the end of the announcement, but they're going to mark it 5 yards against Green Bay. They shut the play down. I thought maybe because Paris Lennon was unabated to the quarterback, but instead they get Jermichael Finley, who was shown tape of that big game that he had in the desert. 6 catches, 159 yards in that 09 wild card playoff game that ended in overtime. Trying to get Finley back. As you said, he hasn't been the same since he went down in week 5, 2010. It's 3rd down and goal.
Belly off! Belly off! Belly off! 319! 319!
Quick throw. Pass caught. That's caught. Touchdown.
Watch Donald Driver in the slot. He comes off the ball immediately, and he's engaged as a blocker there in the middle. It was kind of a designed like wide receiver type screen, even though it was more of a slant route. They even released Jermichael Finley at the tight end position vertical. He wasn't looking to receive the pass either. He was blocking, and just great execution there by the Packers.
Well, Randall Cobb is developing into a huge weapon for the Green Bay Packers. A penalty flag flies on the extra point. That for Rodgers, his 16th red zone touchdown pass.
Number 21 on the defense. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Try is good.
They get Patrick Peterson for the offside. 16th red zone touchdown pass by Aaron Rodgers. The top total in the league. Green Bay offense still on fire up south. Rodgers, the reigning MVP now. The last 3+ games, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. And this will be a kneel down by William Powell. Let's go back to the touchdown. The block by Donald Driver. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Adrian Wilson whiffed on the tackle, and Cobb's got his 5th touchdown receiving of the year. We're going to go back to the touchdown pass in a moment. Meanwhile, that's career touchdown pass number 154. Second to Brett Favre's 442. The Green Bay franchise leader. Handoff over the right side. And it's Lerod Stevens Howling, good for 4. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Yeah, watch Donald Driver here. He's got up until 1 yard to make contact and block before the ball is caught. Clearly, he's beyond a yard. He's closer to 5 yards. Should have been offensive pass interference. Now, the concern that I would have if I'm defensive coordinator Ray Horton is, as you said, Joe, the missed tackle there by Adrian Wilson. He just drops his head. That was a problem last week in that loss to San Francisco, and the tackling needed to improve. and that should have at least been kept from scoring a touchdown. Should have been offensive pass interference, as I said.
2nd down and 6. It's Moore from Stevens Howling, and he's about a half-yard shy of a 1st down. Brad Jones was there defending. As we look at the Arizona Cardinals, and they definitely have defensive stars trying to protect their quarterback, whether it's Cobb or Skelton. And because of the injuries up front, they've had no run game. In fact, last week against San Francisco, only 7 rushing yards for the game on 9 carries. 3rd and 1. Stevens Howling, not a big back. Depends on the spot. The official from the near side has got his right foot right on the 30, and because the drive started right at the 20, that's enough for a Cardinal 1st down. So you're trying to bang it up in there with a 5'7", 185-pound back on 3rd down and half a yard. And he is a little guy going up against big bodies.
A little guy. He's their 1st down, 2nd down back, 3rd down scat back, and then their short yardage goal line guy too. I mean, he's wearing a lot of hats.
Extra men on the blitz. Raji doesn't get there, and Skelton just throws it into the ground. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Well, we talked on the pregame show about all the defensive touchdowns the Bears have scored. Here's one on special teams. Block punt, Corey Wooten recovers it, 5 yards, touchdown. 7-0 Chicago on top of Tennessee in the 1st quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Curtin, we'll look at the NFC North with Chicago. Their defense, they get older, but they seem to get better with age, up 7-0.
Well, they sure do, and not only are they playing good defense in terms of stopping people, but they're scoring points. About scored as many points as some of these offenses around the league.
Stevens Howling just gets lost in that pileup of big bodies. He dives forward for 3. The first guy there was Pickett. And with about 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter, it'll be 3rd down for Arizona. Talk about in the land of giants. Rod Stevens Howling just turns invisible for a moment and goes forward for 3.
But you can see the effort, and that's what you get when you watch this young kid play. That, I mean, he's what, 5'7" and 185 pounds, and he gives you every bit of that on every run.
3rd down and 7. And a timeout is taken by Arizona.
Team timeout, Arizona.
So they'll talk about a 3rd and 7. And we'll take a break, come back to Lambeau after this. 3rd down and 7 for John Skelton and the Cardinals. Skelton in his 3rd year out of Fordham. And that's how his day has started. Again, he's had a lot of pressure in his face. Fitzgerald at the top. And now penalty flags, a false start.
False start, number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
They get Rich Ornberger making his 2nd straight start for the injured Adam Snyder.
Yeah, it was already tough. I mean, this is an offense that has not been real good on 3rd down throughout this season against a defense that has been. And, you know, it's difficult to convert now. When you're looking at 3rd and 12, it gives Dom Capers an opportunity to do a whole lot of things.
On 3rd down, Skelton fires and completes to Fitzgerald. They're going to mark him at the 40 with forward progress. And that is right at the marker.
Well, pretty good designed route. I really thought that Capers would come with defensive pressure. Instead, he played coverage, and Fitzgerald started as though he was going to run the corner, and it was good timing with Skelton, putting it on him as soon as he came out of the break.
Skelton is a big guy. That was good enough for a 1st down. Skelton 6'6", 244. That's the rookie Floyd in motion. Here's Stevens howling. And he flops forward for 2. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Well, the Houston Texans coming off a bye, looking like the team that they were before the bye. Beautiful play fake. Matt Schaub found a wide open Owen Daniels, 39 yards for the score. They take the lead over the Bills as they get ready to start the second quarter up by a touchdown. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt, the only team to get them this year, the Green Bay Packers. Start the day 6-1. And there's the day for Schaub so far. 2nd and 8. Pass is off the hands of Doucette. And for more on the injury situation, specifically Jordy Nelson of the Packers, down to Pam.
Well, Joe, many people were surprised Jordy Nelson even played with the Packers bye week coming up and a chance to heal that hamstring. The Packers tell us pretty much what we already saw, that it's an ankle injury. They didn't tell us the severity of it. Nelson is listed as questionable, Joe. All
right, Pam, 3rd down and 8 for Arizona. They've converted a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 12 on this drive.
Well, on the 3rd and 12, as I said, Capers decided to play coverage. We'll see what he decides to do here.
Extra man on the blitz. Cardinals pick it up, and Fitzgerald overthrown. 4th down.
I'm not sure what Skelton saw there. I mean, you want to give a guy like Fitzgerald an opportunity, but he was just blanketed. I mean, you've got Tremont Williams, who's playing on the outside, and then the help over the top by M.D. Jennings. There was no chance of fitting that ball in. And overall, I like this receiver group for the Cardinals. Andre Roberts is a guy who I think is up and coming and doing some really nice things. But one of those guys, whether it's him or Early Doucette, Michael Floyd, but you can't always try to fit the ball into double covered Larry Fitzgerald.
Here's one off the side of the foot of Zastudil. Takes a good bounce, though, as it stays in bounds. And it will be marked inside the 20 at the 17. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. Members of the 157th Wisconsin National Guard held the flag during the national anthem today here at Lambeau. On 1st down, pass is not good enough for James Jones. 2nd and 10, under a minute to go, opening quarter in Green Bay.
Well, we'll see what this Arizona defense is able to do. And as we said, they really have to kind of carry the torch for this team. And it's not an offense that can come from behind by very many points. And so when you're already down 7 points, you can't really afford to give up much more.
They fake the handoff. Rodgers keeps it, throws it. Jones, 1st down. And making moves on the rookie Jamel Fleming. Good for 17.
James Jones has had himself an awfully nice year. They go off of the play action. You're seeing more and more teams do this. Of course, you see it in Washington when RG3 actually runs with the ball, but more and more teams are going with that play action out of the gun, hold linebackers. But James Jones has had himself a nice first half of the season.
Now they do hand it off. And a nice run by Alex Green out to the 40. Picked up 6. Darrell Washington, who has been quiet so far, there to make the stop, and that should do it for the first quarter here in Green Bay. A little shoving after the play, and with the lead and the football, the Packers will start the second quarter with the ball at their own 40. Take a break, come back. Quarter number 2. The 4-4 Cardinals, the 5-3 Packers getting together in Wisconsin. Second quarter coming up. Look at the rush yardage for Green Bay against a good Arizona defense. Averaged 90 yards rushing per game. They're up to 71. And this is like a different team offensively if they can run the ball. Second down and 4. Rodgers out to his right. just flicks it. And the pass is in the air and picked off. It went off the body of Randall Cobb and then intercepted by William Gay. And that's his first interception as a Cardinal. That ball was in the air and Gay was there to pick it off for Rodgers' first interception over the last 4 games.
You see as Cobb's going to the ground, it hits him in the chest and then it's taken away from him, and I didn't see anything there to think that the ball had gone to the ground. I don't believe that it did. It was just a heads-up play there by Gay, and whether or not Cobb had possession of it, I think, is the real key as he's going to the ground.
Maybe worth a challenge.
Reviewed.
It's a turnover, so it's reviewed anyway, and Mike McCarthy can just look up at the video screen. So it is a booth review, and I think you bring up a good point. Possession with the ball, tap down. This will be interesting. We'll get the call when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ford and the Go Further with Ford Night. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Pizza Hut. Make it great.
We are going to check in with Mike Pereira as we're under a booth review because of the turnover. Mike, what did you see?
I think what you have here is a receiver, Cobb, going to the ground. He has to maintain possession after he hits the ground for it to be a catch. He doesn't. Ball doesn't hit the ground. Defender then gets the ball, heads upfield. It's an interception. The only thing you could look at is maybe the intercepting player down by contact.
And they're going to stay with the ruling on the field, so Mike got it right. William Gay gets the interception. I thought maybe that ball popped up in the air. Tough to see along the sideline, but just kind of a crazy play. And Gay is there to just rip it out of the arms, in essence, of Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I mean, a really nice play there by William Gay. It's hard to tell exactly what happened to the ball after it came into Cobb's chest. But regardless, for Gay to be able to locate it, get it, and maintain control of it himself, I mean, Mike McCarthy doesn't like the ruling. He had a pretty good look at it from where he was, and maybe he feels that Cobb had possession of the ball, but it was very, very difficult to tell. In fact, we couldn't tell from the shots that we showed.
And like Mike Pereira said, every week we talk about maintaining control going to the ground. Cobb didn't. Here's one downfield and caught by Andre Roberts. That's going to take it down to the 3-yard line, and in a blink, the Arizona Cardinals are in great position to tie this game.
Well, a really good job, an excellent route by Andre Roberts there on the outside, and he's able to make the move and go to the post. And inside, you've got King at tight end who helps tie up the safety, Morgan Burnett, and that's why Andre Roberts is one-on-one on the rookie Casey Hayward.
Remember, they don't have a big back to bang it into the end zone. But they do hand it to LaRod Stevens-Howling, and he's down close to the 1. A 40-yard completion, Troy, to Andre Roberts right after the interception. And just to go back, as Mike said, you have to maintain control of the catch going to the ground. Cobb didn't. That's when Gay ripped it out of his arms, and because the ball didn't touch the ground, it's an interception, and that was the right call.
Yeah, the Cardinals then they get a big play in the passing game, something they don't get a lot of, but someone other than Fitzgerald steps up and makes it happen, and Andre Roberts.
Extra offensive lineman Nate Potter in the game. Stevens-Howling to the edge for the touchdown. Able to stay on his feet and then turned it on, got to the corner of the end zone, and we're an extra point away from a tie game.
Now, Jared Bush had him off the edge, and he was unable to make the tackle. There's pressure that forces Howling to the outside. Bush unable to make the play. Brad Jones trying to get there, and great effort for him to get to the outside and be able to punch that one in.
So they've gone through Beanie Wells, they've gone through Ryan Williams, and now LaRod Stevens-Howling has his 3rd rushing touchdown, that good from a yard away. Feeling ties it. points off the turnover. William Gay, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, with the takeaway. Stephen Towling with a touchdown. Tied at 7. William Gay set it up with his first interception as an Arizona Cardinal, and 3 plays later, Larod Stevens Howling, after a 40-yard Roberts catch, which was Arizona's second longest play from scrimmage this year, set it up. We're tied at 7. Cobb will take an 8. Fox Sports is your home for the UFC beginning on Friday with a new episode of The Ultimate Fighter on FX. Saturday, it's UFC on Fuel TV 6, live from Macau, China. Then on Saturday, December 8th, it's UFC on Fox 5, where Benson Henderson will put his lightweight championship on the line against Nate Diaz. And during that entire break, Mike McCarthy was getting the explanation from Walt Coleman. We heard it from Mike Pereira that it was the right call because Randall Cobb didn't maintain control of the catch going to the ground.
I think the right call was made, but I also think that Mike McCarthy had the best view of what happened.
Here's a toss to Cobb, running over the right side, and he can get you from a lot of different angles. Good for 11. Campbell on the stop. Here's Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Hey, stop me if you've seen this before. The Bears defense with a touchdown. Matthew Hasselbeck picked off by Brian Urlacher. He's not the speedy Urlacher he used to be, but nonetheless, 46 yards later, it's good enough for a touchdown. The defense then forced a fumble, which turned into an offensive touchdown on the very next play from scrimmage. They're up 28-2 at Tennessee. Joe?
All right. Former college safety Brian Urlacher, who's had that unbelievable career, and he's still going.
It's crazy how many points that defense has scored.
Here's Starks back in after only being in Troy in that initial possession. He gets 4.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he wasn't quite right, because after that first carry that he had for the 4 yards, he was not back in the game until just now. And as Mike McCarthy said to us on Friday, hey, James Starks is going to be in the lineup on first and second downs, and then bring in Alex Green on third downs and some of the one-back stuff. But that was not the case until that last carry.
Now it's Cobb in the backfield. And Cobb gets it right up the gut. And he takes it across the 45 to the 46, good for 12. An impressive guy in his second year out of Kentucky.
You can see Reggie Cobb, and this is impressive for anybody, but the one cut right there in the zone blocking scheme. I mean, this guy is obviously an unbelievably versatile player. And now Brian Bulaga, the right tackle, he comes off the field.
You said Reggie Cobb. That's Randall Cobb. He's impressive, no matter what his first might be during the course of the ballgame. Over the right side, it's Starks. Nice move. And they would love Troy to get him going, as James Starks was such a big part of their Super Bowl run in 2010. He hasn't been heard from much since.
No, and he's such a powerful guy. I mean, he's a strong back. I think where some of the concern then comes is maybe in pass protection, but he is able to do some things within the running game if they can get him going, as you said, like he's capable of going, and he's just been kind of a mixed bag.
Missed the first 5 games with turf toe.
Black 98, Black 98. 319.
Packers are over 100 yards rushing on the day, and now Starks has got a first down. And now with Bulaga out, we'll take a look up front and see how they're lining up. Bulaga, Corey, you asked Mike McCarthy. He said, yeah, he had one bad half at Seattle. They've got Lang now kicked out to tackle. He's out at right tackle, then Sitton, then Saturday. They bring in Evan Dietrich Smith with Newhouse at left tackle. And off to Starks. James Starks over the right side, gets 5.
Well, I think you look at their offensive line, and yeah, they have to bring in Dietrich Smith, but he's a backup center, and then he swings as a backup guy to both guard positions. So, you know, with Bulaga going down, it essentially affects 2 players because of the fact that Lang then has to move to right tackle. Now, this is an offensive line, unlike a lot of offensive lines around the league, certainly the one across the field from them. They've been pretty healthy. I mean, all 5 of these guys have started every game this year.
Second down and 5. The 7th play of the drive, and to the sideline too high for Randall Cobb. William Gay was out there defending. William Gay, a guy that Ray Horton was familiar with from his days with the Steelers. Ray Horton, the defensive coordinator, was defensive backs coach under Dick LeBeau in Cincinnati, then with LeBeau in Pittsburgh. And there's a heavy connection to Dom Capers, who was the coordinator in the early 90s for Bill Cowher and the Steelers. So there's a lot of similarities between these 2 defenses and their schemes. It's 3rd down and 5. There are flags down. Free play over the middle. Passes off the left hand of Cobb. Arizona came across offside at the beginning of the play.
It was a good job by Aaron Rodgers. You saw some of the influence of Dick LeBeau on Ray Horton on that last defensive snap. You see all of these guys here, they're all standing up, some of those of which are defensive linemen.
5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Bonnie Holiday, Darnell Dockett, defensive linemen, they're standing up, and then they bring the edge pressure, but Aaron Rodgers able to use snap count and draw him off sides, and then knowing that he had a free play, tried to fit one in down the middle.
It's going to be 3rd down and less than a full yard. After the 5-yard penalties, they get Sam Acho. We're coming across too soon. And they start the play with Alex Green in the backfield with Rodgers. And a timeout taken by the Packers. That was called by Mike McCarthy on the sideline.
Green Bay.
That's their first. 3rd down and less than a yard for the Packers when we come back.
Sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
What do you do, Troy Aikman, on 3rd and 1?
I think with Mason Crosby and some of the problems that he has had, his inconsistency, 3rd and 1, take a shot. My guess is if they don't hit it or they don't get it here, McCarthy goes for it on 4th down.
Instead they hand to Green, and he ran into a wall. He got a 1st down. It was Kerry Rhodes. Paris Lennon there as well, but a 1st down. It was loud.
Well, Kerry Rhodes, he was the unblocked guy right
in the hole. He celebrated, but a 1st down nonetheless.
Well, they got the 1st down, but that still felt pretty good for Kerry Rhodes.
He was traded from the Jets in 2010. In his 8th year out of Louisville. Look at the run to pass ratio in this drive, 7-1. 9th play, and trying to jam it right into the gut of Tom Crabtree. Incomplete. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, as you know, Jordy Nelson had that ankle injury, and he is sitting on the bench at this moment. Now, right tackle Brian Bulaga, he twisted his hip. They want to get a better look, so they've taken him into the locker room for further evaluation. Bulaga is listed as questionable as well.
That looks serious, Joe. It looked like a hyperextended knee. Pam's reporting it as a hip. It looked very similar to the way that Bo Jackson went down years ago. Bulaga certainly doesn't have the speed of Bo Jackson, but the same impact.
Rodgers dropped. Another drop by the Packers. That's been a problem all year. This time it's Driver. And this is a Green Bay receiving core, whether it's at the tight end position with Crabtree in the previous play or this one by Driver. That's been a problem all season.
Yeah, that one on Crabtree. He was a little late getting his head around. The ball was on him before he was ready for it, and that's kind of understandable. But the one with Donald Driver, very frustrating, especially when an offense is kind of struggling a little bit. And that really then gets you behind, certainly within the chains now facing a 3rd and long.
Only 4 completions for Rodgers, who has seen 4 drops in this first half. And so Rodgers has to call a timeout. Go talk about it. We welcome you inside our broadcast booth here at Lambeau. And while we watch these two teams play here this afternoon, we'll take a bigger picture look and look at the NFC. And they were talking about it on the pregame show. Atlanta's undefeated, but yet they still don't get talked about as the best team in the conference. Where do they stand on your list?
Well, I think they're really good. I mean, they've got a quarterback that can certainly lead that team. I do think that this game tonight against the Cowboys is going to be a real challenge for them. I think one of the reasons why maybe they haven't gotten a lot of the attention that they probably deserve is because of some of the teams that they have beaten, although some of those wins have been some really nice wins for them. I think everybody's kind of waiting for this team right here, the Packers, you know, with the injuries that they have had, yet they've been able to win 3 in a row. But as we're seeing here again today, just some real up and down play.
It's 3rd down and 10 blitz. Packers pick it up. Pass is almost dropped. Driver hung on. It depends on the spot. And the official saying first down. His feet might be a little short of our unofficial line. You talk about a favorable spot, and this one again nearly hit the ground.
Well, you saw it. He didn't use his hands. Donald Driver has excellent hands, but the ball got in on his shoulder pads, and that's why it bounced up the way that it did. And boy, I didn't see. I don't know about the spot on that one.
Yeah, I thought it was short.
Had he have caught it clean, he picks up the first down easily, but that looked short to me.
It's only the 5th completion for Aaron Rodgers in the half. Here's one for Cobb. What a throw! Touchdown! His 2nd of the day.
Against William Gay on the outside, and Cobb, who's outstanding as a slot receiver, he's able to, from the inside, run the go route, and because of where he started his lineup, it gives him a lot of room, gives Aaron Rodgers a lot of field to lay that ball over the outside shoulder. And I know Aaron Rodgers, he likes Randall Cobb a lot. You know, I mean, they can use him in so many different ways, and they have. He's a real weapon.
Cobb told us on Friday over the offseason he studied Victor Cruz, Wes Welker, Steve Smith. They may be studying him next offseason. 14-7 Packers. Long drive for Aaron Rodgers in this Packer offense. Rodgers leads the NFL with 23 touchdown passes. Talked about coming in the last 5 games, 18 touchdowns. The most ever touchdown passes over a 5-game span in Packer history. We talk about quarterbacks like Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and now Aaron Rodgers. That's saying something as Powell returns it, spins his way across the 20 out to the 22. And we go back to that catch on 3rd down and 10 to Donald Driver.
Yeah, you see the first down line, and once he gets possession of the ball, his right foot is on the line, but watch where the ball is. I mean, the ball is short of the first down line. I think it's looking at 4th and 1, and then the very next play they come back and throw a beautiful pass then to Randall Cobb for the touchdown. And you know, we showed the amount of yardage that Randall Cobb was responsible for on that last touchdown drive, and where would they be without him? You know, considering Greg Jennings' absence for pretty much the entire season, and then of course Jordy Nelson going down early in this one again.
Here's Powell. His first carry of the day. He's out just shy of the 25. A gain of 3. Pickett was there for the stop. In the aftermath of natural disasters like Superstorm Sandy, the American Red Cross provides life-saving services such as meals, shelter, and mobilizing resources and workers nationwide. Visit redcross.org or text Red Cross to 90999 to give a $10 donation. 2nd down and 7. Skelton hangs in and fires incomplete for Andre Roberts. who has a 40-yarder today. It's now 3rd down and 7.
There's definitely contact. Take a look at it. You know, Devon House, he's in position, and Roberts was expecting to see a flag, but you know, he's entitled to a position on the field as well. If the receiver's running through him, then that would not be pass interference.
Roberts checks out on 3rd and 7. Blitz. Skelton got it away, and now it's dropped. Pass is incomplete. Early Doucette. He had it. Looked like he was about to turn upfield and put it right on the ground. It's 4th down.
Just a great job, too, by John Skelton of hanging in the pocket. Clay Matthews coming off the edge. He gets a free hit on him, and he puts it perfectly out in front of Early Doucette, and a play he just has to make. In an offense, as we pointed out, that has had their share of problems and inconsistency, it's been hard for them to pick up yardage. 6 times this year, they have failed to even have 300 yards of offense. And you know, when you've got a quarterback under duress and he puts the ball where it has to be, he's got to have some help.
Now they get a delay of game on top of it.
Delay of the game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Troy, that was really close to a catch and fumble by Doucette. He had it. They talk about an element of time and being able to make another football move. Really close. It was called incomplete. As you watch it again.
Yeah, I think it was the right call on incomplete. I mean, you're right. You know, a football move. Does he have it? Does he turn it up the field? And it just looked to me like before he really made a football move that the ball was loose and coming out. And I think that's why they had to delay a game, because Wisenhunt was trying to decide whether or not to challenge it.
A couple of moves by Randall Cobb, and then he gets popped at the 25. And we'll look back at a season review after Bethel made that last play for Arizona, and the two teams start to shove, but no flags. Cardinals started this season 4-0 after finishing last season winning 7 of their final 9 games. And you see the points per game average over the first 4. Since then, they've lost their last 4, October not kind, and they have averaged 9 points per game. They've gone through Kevin Cobb, who's out with a rib injury. They've lost 2 running backs. They've lost 2 tackles during the preseason. There's Kevin Cobb. And he was settling in pretty well for Arizona after that deal the organization made to get him in a trade from Philadelphia prior to last season. And now he's out.
Over. 319.
Sounded like Rodgers changed it up. Here's Starks. And James Starks lost it. Ball on the ground. That's loose. And Rodgers is there to get back on top of it. Rodgers trailing the play, recovers the fumble after it was knocked out by Paris Lennon, and then a little wry smile by Aaron Rodgers as he's there to get on top.
It's just a great heads-up play by Aaron Rodgers, keeping his head on the play, seeing what's happening, saw the ball come loose, and is then able to make a play. There was a Cardinal who was in a position who was watching Starks trying to come off the block, and he had an opportunity to make a play on the ball, just was unable to, but a really great job by Aaron Rodgers keeping that play alive.
Now 2nd down and 3, setting up the screen for Green. He's got some speed, and he's out across the 35, a 1st down of the gain of 6. Alex Green, you know, he came into this game averaging under 3 yards per carry. Mike McCarthy told us he'd be shocked if Alex Green doesn't develop into a good back in this league. He's just been going too fast. They want him to slow down and let things develop in front of him.
That happens a lot with young backs, and remember, I mean, he's coming off a pretty significant knee injury last year, and you know, still kind of finding his way, and yeah, that'll all come as he gets more and more reps.
Here he is, right side. Little hesitation, and he gets to the 40, a gain of 2. And now a late slug, but still no flag. O'Brien Schofield threw a shot, but no penalty flag. It's 2nd and 8.
Official was right there too. Normally you don't get away with something like that.
And it was he and Crabtree getting into it. And then that little extra at the end, but no flag. So 2nd and 8.
I don't know if the official saw it. He was squatted down. He may not have even seen the blow.
Here's Green, delayed handoff. And Green is out inches shy of the 45. 3rd down coming up. Meanwhile, on that punt return, Randall Cobb, who's such obviously a big weapon, got kind of sat up and then got hit by Bethel. And they're taking a look at him, checking his strength after he got hit in the back. The left arm went down pretty easy. 3rd down and 3. Packers 4 for 5 on 3rd down. And now 5 for 6. James Jones with a 1st down catch inside Arizona territory. 3.5 to go. The Packers have only 1 timeout left.
Jamel Fleming, the rookie, giving him a little bit of space, and then Aaron Rodgers recognizing that they're bringing pressure, gets the ball out quickly, and they're able to then convert that 3rd down.
How about the Packers have already rushed the ball for 127 yards against a very good Arizona defense. That is a big silver lining for Mike McCarthy.
A couple big runs, and then of course the yardage that Aaron Rodgers has been able to get scrambling.
Setting it up for Green. And blocking in front. Alex Green is down inside the 30 to the 29. Good block by Saturday out in front of him. A 19-yard catch and run.
Yeah, it was effective enough. I've always liked this screen play when you get the quarterback rolling out to his right and you get the defense then flowing that way, because the Cardinals are so fast to pursue and then come back and get the ball to Alex Green. Almost a nice play there by Darrell Washington. Had blockers. He's almost able to split that and make a play, but Alex Green's able to get a good gain on the play.
319!
Quick throw, Boykin. And the rookie trying to make a move. Couldn't get around Patrick Peterson. And for Peterson, got to feel good to bring down Boykin on that initial move. A good, strong tackle after a rough game against the 49ers.
Yeah, you know, he was really looking forward to getting back out onto the field and playing, you know, one of his worst games. He's someone they think a lot of there in Arizona. An excellent young player.
2-minute warning at Lambeau Field. Packers on the march, leading by 7. Arizona defense needs a stop. Packers lead by 7. They have a 2nd down inside the 30. Packers get the second half kickoff as well. 2nd and 9. Rodgers flips it. Pass is caught. Touchdown, James Jones. What a catch.
Yes, sir, Kenny. Yes, sir.
He has made some acrobatic catches this year. How about that effort to go up and get it for his 8th touchdown of the season?
They bring Kerry Rhodes on the safety blitz. It's just that he starts from so far back that he's not a factor in it. They go one-on-one outside. It's James Jones. This time he's on Jamel Fleming, the rookie, and just a great catch, and one that he's kind of made routine throughout this season.
He came in tied for the most touchdown catches in the NFL with 7. That's number 8. And it's a 14-point lead for Green Bay.
Yeah, you show the blitz, and that then creates one-on-one, and it's good coverage. You know, I mean, Fleming's in a pretty good position. He's trying to locate the ball. He's not quite able to. He's got his arm there. But just excellent concentration by James Jones and making a tough catch.
So they're trying to replace Greg Jennings, who is their top threat on the outside. He had that surgery for the lower abdominal muscle, that groin injury that's affected him all year. According to Mike McCarthy, the doctor in Philadelphia said he could be back in 3 weeks. They hope to get Jordy Nelson back. What caught my attention, I don't know if it caught yours, when we talked to Aaron Rodgers, he said things are getting back to normal. And when they're normal in Green Bay, they're anything but normal because they are a dynamic offense. And Aaron Rodgers with a 3-touchdown pass afternoon already, leading by 14.
Well, he likes this team. He compared it to the 2010 team, and we all know what that team went on to do.
That streak at the end. They won it all over the Steelers in Super Bowl 45. Here's Kurt to tell us what's coming up at halftime.
All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll put the band back together and get you all caught up on a busy NFL Sunday, including a matchup of a couple of surprise teams as Miami takes on Indianapolis and Peyton Manning and the Broncos try to continue their hot streak. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
Thanks, Kurt. Good to see we got David Hill off the polo field for a little sit-in. First down at the 20. Pass is caught. Fitzgerald. And the Cardinals need something to happen here, as Fitzgerald is good for 9.5. Second and a short one. They have 2 timeouts left. Down by 14. There's Fitzgerald, and that was almost picked. Fitzgerald's so good at getting the contested throw, and that's a first down, good for 6.
Well, they've got plenty of time. They've got 2 timeouts, and Skelton just has to be careful here and recognize that and be smart with the throws. This is a defense that's very opportunistic, and as we know, capable of a lot of takeaways.
Handoff to LaRod Stevens-Howling, and he is going to wisely get out of bounds. And a decent pickup on first down of 6 yards.
Well, this would be a nice way to end the half for Arizona, considering the fact that they're now down 14 points. You know, we've talked about it. They're not really built to come from behind. Last week in that loss on Monday night to San Francisco, they basically abandoned the run altogether with only 9 rushing attempts. They can't afford to have that happen here this week.
Second down and 4. Skelton completes. That's the rookie. And Floyd is out near midfield, a gain of 9. Yeah, you do not want to become one-dimensional against the Dom Capers defense with as much trouble as they've had protecting the quarterback this year. So trying to close it to a 7-point game before half, or just get something. There he goes down, Skelton, and right in his face is Mike Daniels. And for Daniels, his 2nd sack of the year, and that is a big loss.
You can see the move. They go Clay Matthews inside. Daniels comes around the edge, and that's the twist in the game up front that frees him up.
A loss of 10 on the play, and Arizona has to use their 2nd timeout. So Daniels with Jarrell Worthy out with a concussion. Mike Neal, who has a sack in this game. Good news for him, coming off a sprained ankle. The sack by Daniels makes it 2nd and 20. On 2nd down, Skelton has it batted away by M.D. Jennings, trying to get it to early Doucette. 33 seconds left, and this Green Bay defense now, Troy, has 28 sacks on the year. They had 29 all last season. So Dom Capers has that defense cranking again. It's 3rd and 20. Number 52 has 9 of those sacks. None today. Quick throw. Pass is dropped. That's Doucette again. He's dropped a couple. And it's 4th down.
The Cardinals were able to get some good completions and start moving the ball and get a little rhythm going, and then the sack essentially just took them out of this. Even if Doucette's able to make a catch here, which he should have made, they're not going to pick up the first down. But we showed the amount of pressure that's been put on John Skelton, and that's hard.
Arizona with 4 drops in this half, 3 of them by Doucette. And good news for Green Bay that Cobb is back there to return the punt, the fair catch. After a 45-yard punt, Green Bay will start the 15. Fox tonight, the most animated night on TV returns. Don't miss Animation Domination with the all-new episodes of your favorite comedies, The Cleveland Show, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, and American Dad. All new episodes of Animation Domination are back starting tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on Fox. And Green Bay is going to leave well enough alone, take a knee, and that'll do it for the first half here at Lambeau. And the Packers, who have won 3 straight, and the Cardinals, who have lost 4 straight, head off the field in a 21-7 game. Green Bay on top. Cobb has 2 touchdown receptions. James Jones the other. That's the score halfway through it here on November 4th. Here's Kurt with a Visa halftime. Along with our producer Richie Zients, our director Rich Russo, Colby Bourgeois punching all the buttons for you. 21-7 at the half. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Packers will get the kickoff to start the second half. That means more from Randall Cobb. He's got 2 touchdown receptions in this game, 6 on the year. So he is climbing the list as we look at the stats from the first half of play. And maybe the most impressive for Green Bay. You know they're going to get yards through the air, but on the ground, this has been a big day for their running game. We've seen good work from Starks and Alex Green, and when they can't do it, Aaron Rodgers has come up with a couple of big runs. So Feely will kick it away. And Cobb will wait for it on the other end. Aaron Rodgers, 24 touchdown passes to lead the NFL. And in charge of an offense that came in at the start of the day ranked 21st in the league in total offense after being number 3 last year and setting a franchise record with over 405 yards per game. Last year they averaged 35 points per game, and that per game average is creeping north after a slow start. On one hop, it's Cobb. Over the left side, he is dangerous. What a game he's had. Out of bounds across the 45. And a 43-yard return for Randall Cobb.
As I said, I mean, this guy is just such a great weapon. You kind of wonder, you know, with the injuries that they've had at the wide receiver position, if they really want to see him returning kicks. Of course, if he's returning them like this, they want to continue to have him doing that, but just the exposure to injury. I mean, as I said a little bit earlier, he's just a guy that they can, you know, not afford to have go down himself. We saw him get banged up earlier there in the first half, but he's had himself a nice afternoon here in this game, doing a lot of different things from a lot of different positions.
Handoff is to Green. Wrestled down at the 48 of Arizona. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, talking to both coaches at halftime, first for the Cards, Ken Wisenhunt, he said offensively we got to catch the ball, defensively that we need to play better. As for, I asked him a couple of questions about John Skelton. Is he taking some chances? He said, what are you talking about? That's not accurate. As for the Packers, Mike McCarthy says he's keeping out Bulaga and Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, Bulaga still not out there. Thanks, Pam. As Rodgers escapes trouble and then throws too short for Jermichael Finley. That was almost Favre-esque. Rolling out to the right, throwing back across the field. And now down is O'Brien Schofield. Take a look at the injury as Schofield, number 50, got rolled up. I think it was Dockett. was Darnell Dockett who went up the back of the left leg of O'Brien Schofield. Take a break. Come back.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. By Burger King and the delicious new holiday sweets. And by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
They move fast here in Green Bay, don't they? Those statues of Lambeau and Lombardi just inspire action. Outside Lambeau Field, which they continue to improve, it seems, year after year. Coming across was Quentin Groves. Was he drawn off? Nope.
Neutral zone infraction, number 54. Defense unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
They just made this third down a heck of a lot easier now for the Green Bay Packers, and that's a down that the Cardinals have really struggled here in this game to win. Coming into the game defensively, they had been very, very good getting off the field on third downs, but not today. The Packers have been very efficient.
Makes it 3rd down and 1. Cardinals came in 5th best in the league defensively on 3rd down. Packers 5 of 6. This one is incomplete, and good coverage by Peterson on James Jones. He was right there.
Talked about Patrick Peterson a little bit earlier. I mean, really good coverage. He's on the inside, anticipating the inside breaking route, and makes a play on it. And as good as he is as a corner, he's been every bit as good as a return guy. Last year, 4 punt returns for touchdowns. Yeah. Very dangerous.
First time we'll see him returning a punt. This is the first of the day for Mastay. And it ends up in the end zone. Took a funny bounce. And a good bounce for the Cardinals, who need to get something, Troy Aikman, something going offensively here against the Green Bay defense.
Well, it was a good start defensively for the Cardinals to at least not give up any points there coming out to start this second half. And yeah, I mean, they've got to, John Skelton's got to get some help. You know, they do have to catch the ball, and they need to run the ball, certainly better than they have, but it's hard to go the distance the way that they do it. We saw the big play they had to Andre Roberts that set up the touchdown that they got, and those are the big chunks that they really need to have, because it's hard for them to put 9-10 plays together.
Here's one in the air, up for grabs, picked off by Walden. Hayward is the one that forced it up into the air, and Eric Walden comes down with the ball. Hausler was the intended receiver. Walden gets his first pick, but it was up there for anybody to take.
Hayward right here, he's the guy who drives on it. When he sees Hausler on the out-breaking route, he just jumps on it immediately, and Skelton either doesn't see him or he thinks he can just squeeze it in there. Ball deflected. Eric Walden's able to locate it, and a big turnover. And as we talked about, I mean, already down 14 points, giving the ball back to the Packers with this kind of field position, it's going to make it awfully tough now on this defense.
First turnover forced by the Packer defense. That's their 10th interception. Hand off to Green. Campbell was in there first to hit him. This was a defense that last year had 31 interceptions. That's only number 10 as they play in their 9th game. But this is a Green Bay team overall that didn't want to have their head coach hear him talking about a bye week coming up. But it'll be a big one if they can get a win here today and then take a week to get healed. They are banged up. Rodgers look left, throws right, on the reach of Green. There was nothing out there. Groves was there staring into the eyes of Alex Green. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals started this season 4-0 on top in the NFC West. Now it's the 49ers again and everybody else. Arizona's sliding. Seattle's had a good season, and that defense just seems to get better. And their young quarterback Russell Wilson, the Rams have been better, but have dropped their last few. Here's one to Jones, out of his reach. And on third down, the incomplete pass will bring Crosby onto the field. William Gay was out there defending.
Yeah, it's very frustrating for Aaron Rodgers, I know, because of the fact that they did get the ball where they did and to not be able to do anything with it and now have to settle for a field goal. But give the Arizona Cardinals defense some credit.
Mason Crosby started this season 5 for 5. 4 of 9 since. He missed from 44 today. And the 33-yarder is drilled. Makes it 24-7. Green Bay on top. Opening minutes, second half. 17-point game now with the Packers on top. They turned the interception by Walden into 3 points. 24-7 as Crosby kicks it away. William Powell waiting for it, and he will bring it out. Out across the 25, knocked down near the 28. We look at the guy that every defense looks at, Larry Fitzgerald, in his day so far.
As you're going to see, I mean, he gets a lot of different looks, and he's going to have people in his face. He's going to have safeties over the top. That time he came out of the backfield. He draws a linebacker, pretty good coverage with, again, help over the top. But Larry Fitzgerald has, really been a pro through it all. I mean, he was part of a very prolific offense with Kurt Warner. They made it to the Super Bowl. He was regarded as the best receiver in football, and you don't get quite that same attention nationally when you're not winning games.
Rod Stevens-Howling gets 3 over the right side. Walden on the stop. Larry Fitzgerald is still on that short list of guys with, let's say, an A.J. Green, a Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson, the defensive coordinators game plan for on the plane home from the week before. And he has not let that frustration creep in. But a guy who's in his 9th year, he's missed only 4 games. He's extremely tough and so gifted going up and fighting for the football. Skelton's looking for him. He's got him, but Fitzgerald slid down, lost his footing, incomplete.
That was a play, too, where, again, they've got a safety helping him. M.D. Jennings is helping Tramon Williams, and that's the hole then within the zone. And Skelton recognizes it. He's trying to fit it in there. But Fitzgerald just loses his footing when he tries to come back and make a play on that ball. Considering all of the problems the Cardinals have had offensively, not just this year, but for the last few years, he's a guy who's going to catch 90 balls. He's going to have 1,200 to 1,400 yards receiving. I mean, still very, very productive by any measurement.
3rd down and 7. 4 men on the rush. The pass is dropped again. This time it's Hausler. Another good throw from Skelton. And he's got to be frustrated with what he is getting on the other end.
And he finally has protection in the pocket. I mean, he's got a clean pocket. Nobody's in his face. That just doesn't happen very often. And when he has had that, he's delivered good throws.
Catch the ball, he said.
Yeah, well, you can see the frustration starting to set in, and I'm surprised it took this long.
Here's another shank off the foot of Zastudil. 5 Arizona drops. And this punt, 20 yards by Zastudil. He shakes his head. Green Bay up 17. They have it at the 50. The Green Bay Packers have 259 total yards to Arizona's 109. This drive starts at midfield. Up by 17. To the ground, it's Green. And Alex straight ahead for 2. Darrell Washington on the stop. And again, the Packers are without Bulaga. They have Derek Sherrod, who's on the physically unable to perform list. And they've got decisions to make. They made one, Green Bay did, with linebacker Frank Zombo. They activated him off that list this week. Got Andrew Corliss on that list. Sherrod as well. Sherrod may be headed to IR. Here is Rodgers just flinging it out of bounds in the direction of Randall Cobb, and we go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, as we speak, Cardinals linebacker O'Brien Schofield, he is not out there on the field. We are told he has a sprained left ankle. The Cards aren't sure if he will return.
All right, thanks, Pam. So number 50 not out there. As Rodgers steps up, and that one comes out. They're not saying incomplete pass. It looked like his arm was going forward. And this one, now eventually, Walt Coleman just said incomplete pass. Quentin Groves was there. He got into the chest of Aaron Rodgers, and this one was clearly arm going forward, incomplete, even with a late call by Walt Coleman.
That was Quentin Groves who came around the edge. T.J. Lang, as you said, Joe, going from the guard position out to right tackle with Balaga going down. Aaron Rodgers didn't sense him coming. I know last week Rodgers was wanting the tuck rule call to avoid a fumble. That time, clearly empty hand coming forward. The correct call was made.
So now 4th down and 8. Second punt by Mastay. And he hits it end over end with Peterson looking at it and muffing it. Able to get back on top of it. It will stay with Arizona. Well, this was a big week for my partner Troy Aikman. Henrietta, Oklahoma held an event at Henrietta High School for their NFL hometown Hall of Famer Troy Aikman on Tuesday. School received a Troy Aikman plaque from the NFL Hall of Fame. Troy's plaque was the 44th distributed by the Hall of Fame, and
It's going to spark an idea.
as we welcome you inside our broadcast booth, we're over there from the cart. That was a nice night, I know, for you.
Well, it was, yeah. And I think my friends and family are saying, are you kidding? We've got to come honor you again? For what?
Pass is caught. This is Floyd, and to me, to get back to this game, that's the guy that has to develop as the threat opposite Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, who made that catch good for 17 yards.
Yeah, he's a first-round pick out of Notre Dame, the second receiver taken in the draft, just 13 receptions coming in. But I will tell you, outside of quarterback, playing wide receiver in this league as a rookie is a tall order. I've seen a lot of young guys, talented guys, really struggle that first season. Now, I don't know how many opportunities he's really been given, but they certainly like him.
And Green Bay likes Clay Matthews, who can't bring down Skelton. What a good job by John Skelton to avoid a sack. And he used all 6'6", 244 pounds and all of his strength to get away from Matthews, who limps away.
Yeah, I think Matthews is wondering how he got away from that one, because he gets a great rush, he has a beat on Skelton, and because of his size, as you said, he's just a difficult guy to bring down. And Skelton's just getting tired of this, I'll promise you. And the frustration that he has experienced, we saw that on the last possession with the drop by Hausler. But, man, he's handled it a lot better, I think, than I would have.
On 2nd down and 10, pass is broken up. And a good play is made over the middle by McMillan, the rookie safety on Hausler. Let's go to Patrick O'Neill for a game break.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Bills at the Texans. Houston quietly, the class of the AFC, Arian Foster quietly leads the NFL with rushing touchdowns. That's his 10th. Still a ball game, though. Houston up on Buffalo 14-9. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Patrick, thanks. Back here, it's 3rd down and 10. Still 10.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Skelton fires, pass caught, and Hausler fights for a first down. After a drop on the last possession, this one a good catch and lunge for 11 yards.
They bring a 4-man rush. And so they decide to play coverage, and you see it looked initially like it was going to be a clean pocket. Walden comes off the block as Skelton steps up, and he takes another blow. And initially when this ball was completed, it didn't look like the necessary depth had been maintained to pick up the first down, but because of the missed tackle, he's able to get it across for the first down.
They fake the handoff. Skelton over the middle has a man, and that is Andre Roberts. He gets hit hard going to the ground, and after a 40-yarder in the first half, This one good for 23, and Roberts has to go to the sideline.
Yeah, and even overall, the Cardinals have not run the ball all that well. The play action still does its job in getting the linebackers up and getting the ball into Andre Roberts. I said a little bit earlier in this game, I like him. I mean, he's got really good quickness. I like the way he gets in and out of his breaks. He's going to be a really good player.
Got hit by Morgan Burnett. Pressure off the edge, and I believe Desmond Moses may have gotten a hand on that throw by Skelton. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, he definitely got his hand on the ball as he brings it back to cut it loose.
Second down and 10. Fighting for extra yardage is Larod Stevens-Howling. And after getting hit at the line of scrimmage, good for 5 yards. First guy there was Desmond Moses. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Nate Potter has taken over at left tackle. As we tell you, you can call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of every NFL game. Potter is another rookie up front. He's taken over for D'Anthony Batiste. 7th round pick out of Boise State. And we're going to have a challenge here by Green Bay, saying that Larod Stevens-Howling on that run was down.
Challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact.
Let's take another look. There's Moses. And was his left knee down? Was the forearm down? Tough to see. A challenge from Green Bay. We'll get the call when we come back. Here's Mike Pereira. What'd you see on that run by Stevens-Howling?
What I see is he's not down because, remember, the hand does not make you down. The front or the back of the hand or the wrist. You got to be all the way to the forearm. This call should stay.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Only the runner's wrist was on the ground. Green Bay will be charged with their first team timeout.
So there's another look at it. The question was the back of the left wrist by Larod Stevens-Howling, but the forearm was not all the way down. So Pereira's 2 for 2 in our game, and Green Bay just went 0 for 1 on challenges. So no bonus for them eventually, and that cost him a timeout. And it brings up 3rd down and 5 instead of 3rd and 10 or 11. Skelton finds Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald is going to find the end zone for the touchdown. What an effort by Larry Fitzgerald. That's his 4th. 31 yards as Arizona's trying to climb back into it.
You see the Cardinals, they go to a trip set bunch. They bunch those guys up, and because of that, then they release it, and it's easy to then turn a guy loose. Now Fitzgerald, they're in zone coverage, and he's able to find the hole within that zone, but after he catches the ball, this is where he was really good. I mean, some chances for Green Bay to keep him from scoring, but just determination on Fitzgerald's part of getting that all the way in for the touchdown.
And just like that, it's a 10-point game in Green Bay. So number 4 on the year. And this was a lot of effort by Fitzgerald after the catch.
Well, you see the way they cross-release that, and so it gets Fitzgerald up into the seam. Desmond Moses was the linebacker who was responsible for that underneath coverage with help over the top. But Fitzgerald splits it. He makes the catch. And just as I said, great effort on his part, being able to punch that in.
That had to feel good for a guy that's been frustrated this season. Last year was 9th in the league over 17.5 yards per catch. He started this game at 80th in the NFL at under 11.5 yards per catch. That one good for 31 yards, a touchdown. And I know that the numbers aren't going to blow anybody away at the end of the game, but I have a feeling John Skelton has impressed you, Troy, with the way he's been able to hold up, hang in there, and some of the throws he's made under duress.
Well, it's tough. I mean, can he play better? Absolutely, he can play better, but he's got to have some help, and he hasn't gotten a lot of that. And whether it's him or Kevin Cobb, those other players around him have to be able to do their part.
Here is Randall Cobb, juggled the ball, almost lost it. We go back to the last time these two teams met, Packers and Cardinals, in a 2009 wild card game. It became the highest scoring postseason game in league history. And it ended when Carlos Dansby scored the final touchdown in overtime when Aaron Rodgers was stripped by Michael Adams, who's still on the team. Cardinals won by a score of 51-45.
Takes them 5 weeks to score 51 points now.
That's ancient history as far as the Cardinals are concerned. And that was when they had a guy named Warner. That was his last year in the NFL at quarterback. So now Green Bay trying to answer, starting at the 21. Cobb starts at the bottom of the screen, and Rodgers keeps it, throws it, has a man, that's Boykin. And the rookie, who both McCarthy and Rodgers really like, is good for 6.
Yeah, they like him. He was an undrafted free agent, and one of the real reasons for that, because he was pretty productive there at Virginia Tech. But according to Mike McCarthy at the scouting combine, he ran a 4.7 40, which for those that don't really know what that means, that I ran faster than that when I came out. So I was shocked. But they really like him, and he runs good routes. He's a big guy, and they think he's got a real future.
Starks gets it running right. Starks is out to the 30. A gain of 3, 3rd and short coming up.
Well, I think right now for the Cardinals defense, I mean, they've gotten a lot of accolades as a pretty good unit and have been absolved really of a lot of responsibility for what's happened here over the last 4 weeks. But, you know, this is a 3rd and 1, obviously, but if they're the defense that Ray Horton believes that they are, then this is a possession here when their offense went down and got the touchdown to cut this to 10 points. They've got to be able to make a stop.
Green in the backfield, he gets it, and he was stopped. He did cross the 30, but he looks to be a half yard shy of a first down, and it's Dan Williams, the big nose tackle, in there to stuff it.
You see Kerry Rhodes, he's the safety, and he's the guy who then has to be able to make the play. Now he gets help on the inside. Who comes off the block is big nose tackle Dan Williams, but Kerry Rhodes is there to clean it up and finish him off. That's an excellent job defensively by the Cardinals.
This will be the 3rd punt this quarter for Mastay after not punting it at all in the first half. Under 6.5 to go, and there's the stop you were talking about. And here is Patrick Peterson. Good punt by Mastay. Hung it high, fair catch. Hauled in, inches inside the 25. Cardinals have it, more shoving after the play, no flags yet. Arizona with a football, down by 10. Victor Gonzalez coming off a strong baseball postseason, putting that together in our production truck. So here are the Cardinals down by 10, 6 to go, 3rd quarter. Rod Stevens howling right side, gets to the edge, then goes upfield. Gets drilled by A.J. Hawk. And he is going to be marked out of bounds with enough for a first down.
You know, I talked, Joe, about the inability for the Cardinals to really get many big plays. Prior to this game, during the 4-game losing streak, they did not even have a play of 30 yards during those 4 weeks. And here today, I mean, think of their 2 touchdowns. drives that they had. They had the deep ball to Andre Roberts, which allowed them then to come away with the first touchdown. And then, of course, the Fitzgerald play, where a lot of that had to do with his determination. But two big plays on two different drives, and they come away with two touchdowns. And that's really the key for this offense.
Skelton throws too short for Stevens Howling after rushing the ball for only 7 yards last week. Arizona's run it for 52 at a 3.7 yards per carry average. But it is Ken Wisenhunt, and that's really what Wisenhunt, truth be told, wants to do. Have a big back, run the ball. He did it in Pittsburgh. He's a Dan Henning guy. That's where he comes from, but they just don't have the personnel to do it.
Yeah, Stevens Howling is not what I consider a big back.
2nd and 10. Hausler makes the catch, turns upfield. He's got another Arizona first down. It's got to Kurt for a game break.
Well, Peyton Manning had been picked off once in his previous 5 games. Cincinnati's gotten him twice today already. Oh, had a little help on this one. Terrence Newman with the interception set up a touchdown by the Bengals. They scored 17 unanswered, and Cincy has a leading 20-17. Joe, Troy, and Pam, I resisted the temptation to say hello, Newman.
Well, thank you, Kurt. And Peyton Manning coming off 5 straight 300-yard games. Has never lost to Cincinnati. But trailing there by 3. Here's Stevens Howling, good for 5, brought down by Brad Jones, who is in his 3rd week as the starting inside linebacker after Bishop was lost in the preseason. And DJ Smith, the guy who took over for Bishop, was lost in the middle of October to a knee injury here against Houston.
Yeah, he's played well for them, too. I mean, a smart guy, very active, good pass rusher.
2nd down and 5. Play action from Skelton. Has protection, finds Hausler. And Hausler lost his footing, but he's got a big first down inside the 30. They'll mark him at the 28.
As I was saying, I mean, he has not had a lot of great protection, but when he's had it today, he really has delivered some nice throws. And, you know, that time he's able to step up clean and deliver a ball to Hausler. Hausler's able to slide in. He's able to slide in then behind the linebackers, and here the Cardinals are on the march. You know, I mean, they're down 10. Any kind of points here, you put the pressure right back on the Packers.
That one good for 22 yards to Hausler. Skelton hits the fullback. That's Anthony Sherman. A small gain of 3. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Cardinals are making this drive as linebacker Clay Matthews is getting evaluated in the locker room. He has a quiet day. He did until he's got this hamstring injury now. His return is also questionable, which we said about 30 guys today.
Yeah, it's starting to pile up again for Green Bay as they are eyeing their bye week next weekend. 2nd down and 7. Hausler in motion. Skelton keeps it. Has a wide open man. That's Roberts. And Andre Roberts will take it down to the 10-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 11. 14-yard completion, and the Cardinals are right back knocking on the door again.
Yeah, you see Stevens Howling and the job that he does coming inside and really finishing off A.J. Hawk last week against the 49ers. He got shown when he got beat by Navarro Bowman, but he sticks his head in there, makes a nice block. And you heard John Skelton check out of the play. He went kill because he saw one-on-one outside with pressure inside. An excellent job of executing and delivering the ball on the money.
Play clock winding down. So Ken Wisenhunt will have to spend a timeout. And it'll be 1st down and 10 with a ball at the 11. And while we have focused on this game here between the Cardinals and the Packers, we look again around the NFC in particular, and a team that's really been disappointing after a good start, the Philadelphia Eagles. And hard to believe Andy Reid in his 14th year as head coach of the Eagles is under fire, and this is a club that's under 500.
Yeah, it's not hard to believe when you consider how much they struggled last year when they went out and signed all those guys. A lot was expected, and you know that puts you in the hot seat when you don't do more than they were able to do last season. And they finished up relatively strong. We thought that was going to carry over certainly into this year, but I think it's going to be tough on the Eagles. I mean, certainly a big game then on Monday night, but a lot of crazy things happening around the league, and Philadelphia has just been kind of the picture of inconsistency now for the last year and a half.
First down. Arizona out of the shotgun. Skelton, end zone, out of the reach of Floyd. And Michael, who has one touchdown and suffered through some early drops to his rookie season, trying to get more in the rhythm. That one out of his reach.
Yeah, I think that's a ball that John Skelton would like to have back, because Jaron McMillan was in coverage, the rookie safety, and he was not looking for the ball. He could have put that ball pretty much anywhere, and Michael Floyd would have likely been able to make a play on it.
Now second down and 10. Four-man rush. Skelton with a little pump fake, and now finds Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald ran right through Tremont Williams, leveled him with a shoulder, and we'll see where they mark it. About a yard shy of a first down. That was good for 9.
So you talk about a guy finishing a play. I mean, he kind of ad-libbed a little bit just to create a little bit of separation to get the ball, but then to finish that run off the way that he did, you don't see that kind of physicalness too many times by wide receivers.
Cardinals can get a first down without a touchdown. Third down and 1. Stevens howling. Right side, ran into a wall and didn't get it. Mike Daniels was there. It's fourth down, and the Cardinals will have to attempt the field goal. That was a big stop.
Well, it was a big stop, and the Cardinals they're trying to get in behind the fullback, Anthony Sherman. It's just no movement whatsoever. The Packers, they hold their ground, and an excellent job there on 3rd and 1 of forcing the Cardinals to settle for a field goal.
Chip shot from Feely, who was hit from 61. That's a career long. He did that against Buffalo on October 14th, and this is basically an extra point. And it's a 7-point game. In the aftermath of natural disasters like Superstorm Sandy, the American Red Cross provides life-saving services such as meals, shelter, and mobilizing resources and workers nationwide. Visit redcross.org or text Red Cross to 90999 to give a $10 donation. They need it, and the people in the Northeast need it.
Well, there's no doubt, and all the volunteers who are helping out there in their efforts on the East Coast, and our prayers and thoughts are with those folks.
Those volunteers, a lot of the first responders, as Jay Glazer reported on Fox NFL Sunday, treated to an NFL game today. Interesting games coming up, in the NFC, and we can get to the AFC, and we'll try to before the end of the day. But in the NFC East, you got the Giants against the Steelers later this afternoon. You mentioned Philadelphia, New Orleans on Monday, and then Dallas with a big one at Atlanta tonight. Romo, 13 interceptions. The Cowboys -11 in the turnover ratio. And Romo coming off that 4-pick game that you witnessed at home against the Giants.
Well, if they're going to get it going, I think tonight's going to have to be the night for them.
Here's Cobb. Little stutter step, and he's knocked down at the 22. We will be in Philadelphia next Sunday with the Eagles and the Cowboys. There is our slate of games. A Fox NFL doubleheader next week. America's Game of the Week, Cowboys and Eagles. After big games today and tomorrow for those two. Nice run by Green. And he runs into the arms of a former Packer, Paris Lennon, good for 6.
We talked on the previous possession about the Cardinals defensively and being able to come up with a stop after their offense had gone down the field and gotten the touchdown. And now I think it's kind of the other way around as far as this Packers offense, and certainly Aaron Rodgers is doing it shorthanded. Jordy Nelson going down in this game, and then of course Greg Jennings not in the lineup. But right now they need to do something to kind of stop the momentum that the Cardinals have been able to create.
They fake the handoff. Rodgers over the middle, has Crabtree behind the defense. Crabtree, touchdown, no flags.
Crabtree starts in the backfield. He's going to run the seam route, and then you got Paris Lennon in the middle, who's responsible for running up the seam with him, and they go play action, and they get Lennon just looking in the backfield long enough that as Crabtree runs by him, he's not able to make up the ground, and a beautifully thrown ball. And like I said, they need to do something to get the momentum changed, and they create a big play of their own.
That's a career long for Crabtree, 72 yards for the Packers, their longest play from scrimmage. And Crabtree with a Lambeau leap, probably looking for oxygen on his way as he got saluted and hugged and poured on by the fans. You wanted something to stop the momentum, Green Bay? I think that stops the momentum. How about a 4-touchdown day for Aaron Rodgers? That 72-yarder to Crabtree, the end of the third quarter. Prior to that, their 5th possession of the quarter, they didn't have a first down, and that thing changed this game dramatically.
He can go out and get another tattoo after that catch.
He can. I don't know if there's any room. Let's draw it up there, Mr. Analyst.
Well, you're going to see these routes here on the go routes is what frees up ultimately Crabtree going down the middle, because those outside routes, they tie up the safety, and then it's just one-on-one with Crabtree on Paris Lennon, as I said earlier. And Crabtree, who came into this game with just 5 receptions, yet he was averaging over 20 yards per reception. So although he doesn't catch a lot of balls, when he does catch them, they're usually for pretty good gains. Of course, this is going to raise the old average yards per catch even higher.
Well, when we talked to Aaron Rodgers, he had a little meeting with Jermichael Finley during the week, and that's all well and good. They're still waiting for Finley to get back into form. But he likes DJ Williams, a second-year player out of Arkansas, 5th-round pick last year. LaRod Stevens-Howling loses a yard and a half. And Brad Jones is there to make the stop. And so while everybody talks about Finley at the tight end position, keep an eye on DJ Williams, and the other guy he mentioned was Tom Crabtree, good for 72 on that last play.
Yeah, it's also Tom Crabtree's birthday today, so that's a pretty good birthday present that Aaron Rodgers presented to him.
27 years old today. Second down and 11. Can the Cardinals come up with an answer? Skelton throws, has a man, and that is dropped by Fitzgerald as he tried to adjust to that underthrown ball. It's 3rd down and 11. So having to make that long walk back to the huddle. That goes down as a drop, but would have been a sensational catch. 3rd and 11. Three-man rush. Hausler needs to make a couple more moves as he's brought down short of a first down. M.D. Jennings there to make the stop. 2 yards shy of a first down. On comes the punt team for Arizona.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit for the Cardinals in their attempt. They've been in some long down situations on 3rd down, and a lot of those times they've had to throw it short of the markers and hope that they can pick them up. They've been able to do that a few times here in this game, but they come up short on that last play.
Zastudil has had a couple bad punts. This one takes a couple of bounces. Arizona bounces and is tapped down to 31. 41-yard punt, nothing on the return. Aaron Rodgers back to the field, up by 14.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep. By Samsung Galaxy Note 2, the next big thing is here. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
Aaron Rodgers, the completion percentage is under 50%, but the rest of the numbers very good, including a 4-touchdown pass day. On first down, Starks pushes the pile forward. Good strong run. Good for 5. Darnell Dockett on the tackle. Aaron Rodgers, this is the 10th time the regular season he's had a 4-touchdown pass game. He has won the previous 9. He also has one in the postseason.
I thought it was real interesting in visiting with him, Joe, about how confident he is about this team and how much he likes this team. We're around the league, everybody's looking at the Packers saying, man, I don't know. They just don't seem to really have it going the way that they're used to having it. But yet Rodgers is very confident.
Good run by Starks out to the 40. A yard shy of first down. The only downside today, again, going into the bye week, each team is headed into their bye week. Jordy Nelson left with a right ankle injury. Brian Bulaga, their starting right tackle, out with a bad hip. That could funnel down into the knee with a weird hyperextension. And then the hamstring injury suffered by Clay Matthews.
Well, those are all significant players. And, Clay Matthews has dealt with the hamstring before. I mean, that's been a recurring thing for him. I think the question is, how bad is it for Bulaga and how bad is it for Jordy Nelson?
Here Starks running right. He has to lunge, attempting to pick up the first down, and he is short. Could be a 3-and-out and a big one for the Arizona defense. And that's what it will be as Mastay will head onto the field. Good work by Ken Wisenhunt's defensive group.
Well, it sure was, because down 2 possessions left in this game.
Peterson can score quickly. 4 last year for touchdowns, but Mastay hits it high. Peterson a chance to run. And he is dragged to the ground after crossing the 25-yard line. 12-yard return. Sean Richardson on the tackle. A solid tackle. Arizona back to work offensively, down by 14 points. The secondary for Green Bay is young, and they've been playing better and better. They forced 1 pick. Skelton down the sideline, and there is one of those young guys, Devon House, who almost came away with his first pick.
Well, he had a great opportunity. It was a ball that Skelton trying to fit in there really didn't have a chance to, but House is right there to make a play on it, and a guy who they really anticipated was going to be the starter when this season began, but he had some injuries that kept him out of the lineup, and now since he's just kind of gotten back into things, he has not taken over the starting job, even though Sam Shields is out himself.
Out with a bad knee. Pass caught. That's Floyd. Floyd was the intended receiver on that previous pass. It was broken up. Good for 8. 3rd and 2 coming up. Plenty of time left. There's Michael Floyd. Had to be happy with that win yesterday by the Irish over Pitt. 3rd down and 2. What a play. That's Walden. Bringing down LaRod Stevens-Howling, immediately a loss of 6. And Walden, who's got a pick in this game, now makes a good stop on 3rd down.
That's really an excellent job by Walden of recognizing it. Massey tries to go low on him, which is what you want to do, and keep him out of the play, and you do it primarily so that he won't get his hands up if he's rushing up the field, but Walden fends him off and then is able to make a nice play in the open field.
Zastudil with his best of the day. Drives Cobb back inside the 10 eventually. Nowhere to go. Gets a block. And Randall Cobb did all he could. Knocked down at the 1965-yard punt. Green Bay has it up by 14.
It is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep.
Randall Cobb is almost up to 200 total yards on the day. 2 more touchdown catches as Starks tries the right side. And Starks is really getting into the groove. He could take over that top spot. In fact, I would expect him to. Even though they like Alex Green, this guy, as we mentioned earlier, such a big part of their Super Bowl run back in 2010. And if he could just stay healthy, who knows what he could do.
Yeah, he's a physical runner, and on that play there, he really does a good job of being able to get all the way onto the edge and up the sideline, because the Cardinals, they got pressured, and yet he was able to bounce it. But yeah, I mean, he's a physical guy, and he can create some positive yardage once he gets going.
It's his longest run of the year, 14 yards. Why not give it to him again? He cuts back upfield. Takes it to the 35 as he gets 3. Knocked down by Paris Lennon.
Well, the one thing we do know about Mike McCarthy as a play caller is that, he'd like to run the ball better than they have, but the important thing for him has always been just making sure that they get enough running attempts to maintain some type of balance and keep Aaron Rodgers from getting hit a lot as a passer. And even over the last 3 weeks when they weren't running the ball really all that effectively, they were still averaging about 25, 26 carries a game.
Starks at 4.8 yards per carry. This will cost him a yard. Paris Lennon again. Patrick O'Neal again. Here's a game break.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot. Broncos and the Bengals. Another 4th quarter comeback for Peyton Manning. 14 unanswered points. He hits Eric Decker for the 2nd time today. Manning, 291 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the lead 31-20. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
A record of 4-3 on their way to 5-3. Peyton Manning, who we had a chance to see during the preseason. That arm, the nerve issue has gotten stronger and stronger. See who it's against.
Neutral zone infraction, number 54, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That was Quentin Groves across from now right tackle T.J. Lang.
Yeah, you're going to see T.J. Lang. I always like it. Those linemen, when they come out, they want to make sure that official knows who was responsible.
Lang got a 5-year extension during camp, and he's the guy that took over at left guard for Darren College, who's in that spot for the last 2 seasons for the Cardinals. They like him a lot. Brings up 3rd and 3. Pass is juggled and caught somehow by Randall Cobb. They're going to mark him down right at the marker. It looks to be enough. But we'll get a measurement. What a catch.
This is unbelievable. And the ball's behind him, and when it got tipped there, you see Kerry Rhodes thought he may have an opportunity on an interception, and Cobb's able to then get both hands on it and make a catch in what looks to be a 1st down.
So even closer to a 200-yard day for Randall Cobb. How good is our line? Good enough. 1st down.
It was pretty obvious in visiting with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, just how much he likes Randall Cobb. And as I said, I mean, they've used him in the backfield. They put him in the slot. He's had to play a little more outside because of the injuries. And then, of course, as a return man, and he has helped pick up the slack in the slot position because that's an area where Greg Jennings played so much in their 3 wide receiver sets. And it'll be interesting to see then how they use Randall Cobb in that role because he has been so effective, you know, if and when Greg Jennings comes back.
Rodgers keeps it, rolls right, and incomplete. Guess who? Randall Cobb again. Adams defending. This week on Fox College Saturday, it's a doubleheader beginning with 11th ranked Oregon State battling 14th ranked Stanford. Then the 2nd ranked K-State Wildcats look to keep their national title hopes alive as they take on TCU. Coverage of Fox College football begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on Fox. 2nd down and 10. Here's Starks. Not much. 3rd and long coming up. In fact, Aaron Rodgers, to go back to what you said before we talked about Fox College football, he said when Greg Jennings comes back, you could see a lot of 4 wide receiver sets with both Jennings and Cobb on the inside, James Jones and Jordy Nelson on the outside, and they could be really tough to stop.
Well, there's no doubt. And, you know, now you go back and wonder, you know, I'm interested in hearing, you know, when this game's over next week, you know, the severity of the injury to Jordy Nelson. I mean, that could be a huge blow. Right now for the Cardinals, if they're going to climb back into this, have any chance, they got to make a stop here defensively.
Cobb starts this one in the backfield. They toss it to him, and Randall Cobb won't get it. Brought down by Dockett. Groves was there as well. A gain of 6. It's 4th down. The punt team comes on for Green Bay.
Pretty good idea, though, there by Mike McCarthy in terms of not throwing it and having an incompletion and not taking more time off this clock. With it being a 14-point lead, you know, give themselves a chance to pick it up with the toss back to Cobb. And if they don't make it, which they didn't, they at least give this ball back to Arizona under 5 minutes to play.
Big weapon, Patrick Peterson, has been held in check. Actually, his long for the year is 26 yards. Teams know just how dangerous he is after 4 punt returns for touchdowns as a rookie. Stay gets rid of it. Peterson has a little room, taking it in at the 10. Cuts upfield, but can't make the 20. Brett Good, who is the long snapper, was there to make the stop. Cardinals have it, down 14. 4.5 to go. Arizona trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. They got a lot of work to do. Skelton completes. Fitzgerald can't get around Tremont Williams. Gets 8. And now a flag flies. We've seen a lot of this stuff after the whistle. A late flag with these 2 teams shoving. Might have been a late.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 72, offense, 15 yards, half the distance to the goal, 2nd down.
So there you go. Rich Ornberger making a 2nd consecutive start. Guilty of that personal foul, and that marches the ball back just outside the 12.
Look at where they're at right now with just over 4 minutes to play. I mean, Skelton, whether he has time or whether it's clean down the field, I mean, he's going to have to start trying to make some plays down the field in big chunks because he's not going to be able to afford to just complete 6-7 yard passes and do anything.
Juggled the snap. Pass is complete. That's Floyd. And Floyd is out to the 22. Third down and 6. Skelton fires out of the reach of Andre Roberts. It's 4th down. And as the punt team started to head onto the field, they stop and come back to the sideline. Ken Wisenhunt is electing to go for it, down by 14 with under 4 to go.
Well, that's the only chance that he really has. And, you know, it's right here, because if they don't make the play, then the Packers get it, and then it's a 3-possession game. And so it all comes down here to 4th down and keeping this drive alive.
Extra men on a blitz. Skelton, sideline pass is caught for a huge first down by Michael Floyd. Real good coverage, but a good throw and a great catch.
Yeah, it was a really nice throw. I mean, it's good coverage on the outside, but the ball was placed perfectly high. You know, Floyd's 6'2", and House isn't able to turn around and even try to locate the ball. And it's just a great job of getting the ball down the field. Of course, you're thinking first down, but they not only get the first down, but they get a big chunk of yardage as well.
About 37 yards on 4th down and 6. Here is Andre Roberts. He's got another first down. He gets a hit late as Roberts is going to be marked down as that ball went firing out of bounds with a 9-yard play.
Well, he made a mistake. Right here, he's got to go out of bounds. You know, and he keeps it in play. He wasn't going to get any more yardage out of that. Ball got knocked out, but he had a chance to get as much as he could, get out of bounds, and stop the clock. The ball ends up stopping anyway because the ball was knocked out on the fumble.
He lost the first down because of it. Pass is broken up. So now 3rd down and 1. It was Burnett in coverage on Larry Fitzgerald. And it's 3rd down and really less than a yard, about half a yard. So a 300-yard day for John Skelton, but not enough to this point. They got to get the first down first, and Stevens-Howling won't get it. Losing yardage all the way back to the 35-yard line, a loss of 3, and now another 4th down coming up.
The 2 guards just get absolutely blown up. Rich Ornberger and then Darren College, I mean, right back into the lap of Stevens-Howling. Just had no opportunity whatsoever. I mean, that goes to all those that think that because you've got a yard, you run the ball and you pick it up automatically. It's not always that easy.
So another 4th down. It's 4th and 4. Pass broken up. Casey Hayward made the play in front of Andre Roberts, and that will turn it over to Green Bay on their way to their 6th win of the year.
Good design there, a little contact. I couldn't tell if Hayward got his hand on the ball. We'll take a look at it. Like you couldn't tell if he got a hand on it or not, but tight coverage, obviously, in trying to fit that into Andre Roberts. Here's the 3rd down play to Stevens-Howling. You know, when you've got the guards, the pressure that the Packers provided, just a great job of penetrating and not allowing the Cardinals to pick up that first down with, at that time, was 3rd and 1.
Casey Hayward has factored more and more into the Green Bay secondary, a guy who had 13 interceptions his last 2 years at Vanderbilt. And he started this day tied for 3rd in the NFL with 4 interceptions. He broke up that 4th down throw. And now with just 2 timeouts remaining for Arizona, they watch a handoff to Starks, who gets dragged down with a horse collar by Quentin Groves.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 54, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Inside the shoulder pads, and that is classic horse collar tackle. That's 15 yards and a first down with 2:14 left. Starks, who's been battling injuries, is happy that he gets up without a limp after that. Coming up on the 2-minute warning.
Blip, 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 blip.
Here starts left side. Cuts up and runs right into the chest of Adrian Wilson. And Arizona will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts. Take a look at what's facing Green Bay. They've got the bye week coming up, hoping to get healthy, at least healthier. They're at Detroit, at the Giants, at home against Minnesota, at home against Detroit. So a lot inside their own division. A big game at the Giants on the 25th. And just to finish that, after that second Detroit game, they finish at Chicago, which will be, you have to think, huge. At home against Tennessee, at Minnesota.
Yeah, the fact that the Packers won that first meeting with Chicago, I mean, could be huge as we go through this season. And then, of course, as you said, the second meeting being in Chicago.
Dockett makes that play on Starks. A gain of 2 and the final timeout taken by Arizona.
It's hard to imagine that game at Chicago not being a really huge game if Chicago continues to do what they've done, and then of course Green Bay, and a lot of teams around the league with a lot of injuries, and the Packers are certainly no exception. And as we pointed out, a number of key injuries in this game, and I guess we'll find out after the bye next week just how many of those players are able to come back and contribute.
So Ken Wisenhunt's team has this. It doesn't get easier. They have their bye week, then they're at Atlanta. So here they are in danger of dropping their 5th straight after a 4-0 start. And then they're staring at the only undefeated team at the moment in the NFL. Atlanta is playing later tonight at home against Dallas. And that could be a 6-game losing streak unless they come firing out of their bye week with a big one at the Falcons. On 3rd down, pass is behind Cobb. It's 4th down. 2 minutes left at Lambeau Field. Green Bay will punt. Arizona will get it, down by 14. Pepsi post-game show is coming up at the conclusion of this one. Randall Cobb, 12 touches, 202 yards as his breakout season continues here in his 2nd year in the NFL. Number 18 for the Packers. And they've needed every bit of it. Peterson Mussett. This one is picked up by Jared Bush. You can't advance a muff punt, so they're going to mark Bush down at the 2. It belongs to Green Bay. Bush came away with it, and the ball will be at the 2 as Patrick Peterson tried to make something happen and didn't make the catch.
Well, you see, he's trying to locate where Bush was to see if he was going to be able to get a return, and so he took his eyes off the ball a couple different times. Now it appeared that he was able to relocate it. The ball just simply goes right through his arms. And now the Packers, they can just take a knee and run this thing out.
All right, so what did we learn here today? The Green Bay Packers, who came in over their last 5 games averaging 30 points per game. They're right there at that mark again after the first 3 games, just 19 points per game. And even though Aaron Rodgers doesn't have all his weapons, I mean, his 2 big guys on the outside aren't there, and Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings, they are still really tough to slow down.
Yeah, no, I think they're really tough still, but I didn't get the impression today that they're still hitting on all cylinders even without those guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's still room for improvement. But this is a nice win for them going into their bye week.
It's a muff punt. Ball belongs to Green Bay, up by 14. Inside of 2 minutes, so a booth review on the turnover. They want to make sure that this ball hit Patrick Peterson.
After reviewing the play, the ruling is confirmed. The ball hit the receiver's right thigh. First down for Green Bay.
We had one look at it right here where you can see it blown up. That looks like it glances right there off the right thigh of Patrick Peterson. Again, you can't advance a muffed punt. Had he caught it run with it, fumbled it, that's a different situation. So instead of a touchdown for Jared Bush, it's just a recovery at the 2. And the Packers are happy to win this game by 14. The crowd isn't. They want another score. How about that? 179 rushing yards today, and they welcome, for the most part, James Starks back into the mix, and I thought he was impressive, as was Alex Green, running the ball. And when they couldn't, Aaron Rodgers showed his athleticism and showing what he can do on the ground.
It's been a long time, really. I mean, since they've run the ball as effectively and as efficiently as they did today. I mean, as you said, Aaron Rodgers, he obviously makes those numbers look probably better than they really are, but yet those guys ran the ball well. They had some nice big runs, but that took a lot of the pressure off of this passing game, there's no doubt.
Mike McCarthy's attention will turn from this game to the bye week and then to the health of those guys he lost today, and Clay Matthews, Jordy Nelson, who was iffy at best coming in. He made this start because of the bad hamstring. Those were the questions. He leaves with a right ankle injury, and then they're starting right tackle Brian Bulaga left with a hip injury.
Well, as Mike McCarthy likes to say, I mean, he preaches to these players that it's the next man up. I mean, eventually you run out of men, but he does a great job of not allowing the injuries to be an excuse for performance.
This is such a strong organization, from Mark Murphy, the club president, to Ted Thompson, the GM. They find a lot of street free agents that really add to what the Packers do. And then they've got that guy, their first-round pick in 2005 out of Cal, the man who took over for Brett Favre and the reigning MVP in the NFL. He was good again today. That is the end of the 72-yarder to Tom Crabtree. A 4-touchdown pass day. Hugs all around, leaps, you name it. Back after this.